Tax Calc 19, calculate child support. So in the prior videos we looked at how to enter in case information, enter dependents, and then we walked through how to enter income information. Once you have entered in the child overnights and the child dependent information and you've entered in the income, you're now ready and you have enough information to calculate child support. If you're still unfamiliar of how to do those two steps, go back and watch the first and second videos. Once you're able to input that information, you're ready to have the program help you calculate child support. So we're at the point where in the order of operations, I would suggest entering dependents, entering income, and third, now calculate child support. To do that, you would click this button here on the right. It says calculate child support, or also in the upper action bar it says calculate child support. They do the same thing, but when you hit that button, it's going to take the information we've already plugged in. So we have Henry's income, we have Julie's income, and we have already the placement schedules that we talked about. So we have one child that's 52 and 313, and then we have two children at 182.5. It's going to pull all of that information over to this child support calculator, and it's going to run it through our DCF 150 child support guidelines. So you're going to see through this. If you scroll down, you're going to see all those different calculations, and obviously have a net obligation right now. It shows Henry owes $2,090.69. So it goes through obviously the 52 and 313, and then scenario 2, it goes through those shared placement calculations. This calculator does handle all possible combinations of split, shared, primary, and that's the purpose. It has up to 5 different placement schedules within the same family. So you could have 5 children that all have a different number of overnights, and again, this calculator will help calculate all of that correctly. This is generally a visual page, so with 99% of my cases I don't make any edits on this page. I simply may look at it, maybe I'll print it for the parties if they want this calculation, but generally speaking this just shows you the visual of how everything's being calculated, and you don't actually need to make any inputs. We've hit the button calculate child support, it's brought us to this page, and if you simply want to just bring the calculation back, what you're able to do is hit transfer support to tax calc, and it will have that calculation brought back into your tax calc page. So again, that $2,091 a month is what was calculated for child support purposes, and then again based on that, that's where you would bring this information back. So in any simpler term, when you want to calculate child support, you have to click the calculate child support button, view it, make sure it is what you want, and then hit transfer support back. In this case it's going to ask, do you want to overwrite the values? Yes, we do. And now it's going to have that child support calculation input in your program. Again, couple clicks, 5-second task is the majority of my cases. However, if you do want to be more detailed or make adjustments to the child support calculation, you can do so in that child support page. So if we were at that point, we wanted to make adjustments, we could hit calculate child support, and once we are here, we can make adjustments to the assumptions of how child support is calculated in this case. So if you look at this top action bar, there's some quick links there. One of them is the income summary, which actually totals up the gross income available for subject to child support. And the reason I explain this because it also shows the modifications that can be made based on DCF 150. So if you want to make a modification for business expenses, earning capacity, income from assets, serial family payers, which is a common or more common one, or calculations that would be affected by Social Security benefits or auxiliary benefits, those are really where those adjustments are going to show up and be totaled and come through if you are going to make some of them. If you do want to make them, you can either scroll down and you can see where those adjustments can be made. So obviously this is the gross income section. You can make additions or subtractions to the gross income that is coming through. Income exclusions. You can modify income based on business expenses, again, include or decrease. Earning capacity, you can plug in income from assets, so you can even plug in an asset, have the value, and calculate the income on certain assets. Obviously, I think the more used portion of this adjustment is a serial family payers. So this would be where you would go if there's a prior obligation for support. You'd be able to plug in, if it's an existing support order, how much there is being paid. So if Henry's paying $500 a month on a prior order, you can plug that in and it will affect an impact. If we go back up to the summary, you'll see that showing up as an adjustment for serial family payers. If it's not an existing order, or if it's a shared placement order, you would simply enter in the number of children under that shared placement order, and again it will make that adjustment, and you'll see in the income summary here that adjustment is made for this calculation. So serial family payer adjustments, they are there. That's probably more the common adjustments that are used. There's enough space for I think 10 or 12 different prior obligations, so if you do have multiple, you can continue to enter in those. Further on down, it shows you the tables used to kind of calculate everything, the low income tables, and then obviously the tables for the high income payer adjustments, and some of those outcomes. Way on the bottom is a healthcare tab that shows you what the federal poverty guideline is and kind of walks you through determining if there's a requirement that the parent's income be adequate to enroll or contribute to health insurance. So that's something that is there. Again, I'm not sure how often that's used, but it is down there if you looked at it. So for the most part, income is already captured when you get to the child support page. If you want to make adjustments for any reason, you can do so on this page, and then once you're satisfied with those adjustments, you would have to hit transfer support back to get that number back into your spreadsheet. By design, this is meant to stay fixed, so this child support number will stay fixed unless you go click calculate child support and bring a new number back. So it's always going to be this number. Even if I changed income to $60,000, you're going to see the child support does not change automatically. You would have to go get a new number and then bring that new number back. So you can see changing the income to $60,000 now change that child support number. I'm going to change that back because under my scenario I do want to have some child support. I'm also going to, for explanation purposes, change our number of overnights here. Actually, I'm going to show you an example quickly on the equivalent care. So let's say we had someone with 200 overnights with Henry and Julie had, I don't know, 215. Obviously, that's a scenario where there's more than 365, which is possible under our new laws, and you would enter in that way, including the equivalent care, to determine the actual overnights. And when you go to calculate child support, you'll see that they actually break that down into a percentage. So again, following those calculations, you plugged in the total overnights, it determines the percentage, and then allows you to calculate it correctly. So this is really a all-inclusive type child support calculator. So if you do have equivalent care, you can plug in the totals for each parent. For my example, just to kind of keep us consistent as we go, I'm going to put equal placement for all 3 children. I'm going to go hit calculate child support. I'm going to simply say, yep, this is what I want. I'm going to transfer it back, and now I have my child support calculation for this case.